There's a power within you. It lifts your life to its highest level. It brings companionship, happiness, health, success, and peace of mind. As you tap into this power, it will respond to you because this power is within you. And that's why spirituality rocks. Welcome. I'm your host, Janine Burns, and I teach practical spirituality. The world is undergoing a rapid spiritual transformation, and each week on Spirituality Rocks, I present nationally known guests who will ignite your inner power, expand your consciousness. You can be a part of the awakening world by watching this show and checking out our weekly episodes at www.spiritualityrockstv.com. Please tell your friends about the show, www.spiritualitytv.com, spiritualityrockstv.com. It's easy to remember. Now, today's show is very exciting. We are featuring James Redfield, who's the author of the Celestine Prophecy. He actually has a whole series of books on the Celestine Prophecy. And also joining us is Janet Grace Nelson. She's a teacher, she's a certified coach, and she's the author of Putting the Broken Pieces Back Together, a guide to building a life that's been shattered. Now, if you've been watching recent episodes of Spirituality Rocks, then you know that I've just returned from a conference in Atlanta, Georgia, with the affiliated New Thought Network on the Simpsonwood Conference grounds. And you can find out more about that organization by checking out newthought.org. And more about the conference in just a moment. But right now I want to send out a huge thank you to Karen Giganti and Kathy Caputo for keeping the ball rolling and keeping the show going while I was away at the conference. And they were joined by Dr. Harry Morgan Moses. And I've known Harry for 20 years. He's an incredible teacher of practical spirituality. He is really dynamic, just a thought-provoking speaker. And Harry can be checked out at www.newthought.com. Newthought.com. And so again, I extend my thanks to Karen Giganti, Kathy Caputo, and Harry Morgan Moses. So, let me just tell you a little about the conference. The speakers were spectacular. All the speakers who were there were also on Spirituality Rocks. We had Mark Anthony Lord. He's the founder and the director of the Bodhi Spiritual Center in Chicago, Illinois. And he wrote a book, Thou Shalt Not Suffer, 7 Steps to a Life of Joy. You can check him out at www.markanthonylord. And what I really liked about his program is he taught radical self-care. He taught us and some specific techniques to really take good care of ourselves. And you can check him out more on his website. Then Dr. Barbara King was there. And Barbara King wrote Transform Your Life and How to Have a Flood and Not Drown. That woman is amazing. Dr. Barbara King is a chief of a tribe in Guyana, West Africa. So her title is the Right Reverend Dr. Bishop Chief. And she was so inspirational. It was just remarkable. You can check her out at hillsidechapel.org, hillsidechapel.org. Then we had Edwene Gaines. Edwene Gaines is the prosperity teacher. She wrote the book, The 4 Spiritual Laws of Prosperity, A Simple Guide to Abundance. Edwene can be checked out at www.prosperityproducts.com. She gave so many incredible tips and ideas to how to step out of lack and limitation and to step into abundance with ease. Her book is fantastic, and you can also check out her visit to Spirituality Rocks. Then we had David Alt, and David Alt told this incredible story of climbing the Himalaya mountains. And he was on Spirituality Rocks just a few weeks ago. He can be checked out at davidalt.com. Or just go to www.spiritualityrockstv.com and you can click archives and it brings you right over to YouTube. I'd appreciate if you do it that way because then it shows that we have more viewers, and then I'm seeking to get advertisers for the show. So if you can go through spiritualityrockstv.com, that would be awesome. Please check us out on Facebook and like us on Facebook. I have one other exciting announcement, and that is friend to the show, Dennis Merritt Jones, is coming out with a new book. Now, you may recall when he was recently on Spirituality Rocks, we talked about his book, The Art of Uncertainty and How to Live in the Mystery of Life and Love. Well, the new book is called Your Redefining Moments, Becoming Who You Are Born to Be. And it's about the sojourn of awakening and remembering the soul essence that we were at earth, which is at birth, which he calls the authentic self. And Dennis says that we may have defined ourselves in limiting ways based on our history and the opinions of others, and that we can get stuck in the labels that other people have given us. But he said we can change, we can consciously change those old limiting beliefs about who we are. So I invite you to check out his book. It's being released May 29th. He's going to be back on the show. And his web address is DennisMerrittJones.com. DennisMerrittJones.com. And our first guest this evening is Janet Grace Nelson. She's a highly acclaimed spiritual coach and teacher. She wrote the book, Putting the Broken Pieces Back Together, and a guide to building a life that's been shattered. So don't go too far, because right after this commercial break, we'll be back with Janet Grace Nelson. She's with us live on Skype from Big Bear Lake, California. So come right back to Spirituality Rocks.
Peacefully, joyfully, I am divinely guided. Peacefully, joyfully, I follow my inner guidance. Peacefully, joyfully, I am
Hi, my name is Dr. Tom Dow. We have a multidisciplinary practice in Melville and Ronkonkoma, New York, and we treat patients with many, many different conditions, from newborns through geriatric patients with numerous different techniques. There's a technique and a type of treatment for every class of patient. We have them all here. Here's my son Thomas, also a doctor of chiropractic, working on one of our patients' cervical spine. This patient has had chronic neck pain for many, many, many years, has been to a multitude of different practitioners with little or no response. And with our specialized techniques, she has improved tremendously and continues to improve on a daily basis. We have two practices, one in Melville and one in Ronkonkoma, New York. We are a multidiscipline chiropractic office. What that means is we have chiropractors, massage therapists, acupuncturists, psychologists, all working as a team and a network of outside professionals such as orthopedists and neurologists that we work hand in hand with to help determine what your injuries are and the best way to treat your injuries. I have the great pleasure of having my son in practice with me. We work hand in hand, father and son, to give our patients the best care possible, and a staff which is loving, caring, and you'll never have to wait at all in our office for service. Many times patients come into our office and they have what's called a soft tissue injury. Soft tissue injuries are like scars inside your body. If you've ever been cut on the outside of your body, you get a scar. The same thing happens inside of your body to your muscles and ligaments. So our job is to determine where those are, stretch the muscles, adjust the vertebra back into their correct position, and then refortify the normal structure with exercise. That's what we do best, and I hope someday you'll come see us at one of our two offices. Thank you.
peacefully, joyfully, I follow my inner.
Welcome back to Spirituality Rocks. I'm your host, Janine Burns, and I teach practical spirituality. I am thrilled today to be presenting two fantastic practical spirituality teachers, James Redfield, who wrote The Celestine Prophecy, and right now, Janet Grace Nelson. Now, I first met Janet Grace Nelson in person at the Gold Rush Women's Conference, and what I noticed about her is that her energy matched mine. And what I appreciate about her most is her zest for life, and her greatest passion is to inspire others to live a life they love. And so what she does as a spiritual coach, as an inspirational speaker, and as an author, she teaches people to follow their hearts and live the life of their dreams. She is an agape licensed spiritual practitioner, and she teaches truth and serves it up with love and God and all that she endeavors. And so welcome to the show, Janet Grace Nelson.
Woohoo! Thank you so much, Janine. So glad to be here with you.
You know, I'm glad to be with you. And you know what? I really love that you are considered an ambassador of love. I think that is just so cool. You talk about our very essence and our core being love. Tell me more about that.
Well, if you really look at the beginning of your life, you are actually loved into existence. It is love that brought you here. God loved you so much that you are here in the physical form. So we are love. We are love in essence. We are, I tell my children I loved them into existence. So, you know, God loved all of us into existence.
And that's our essence and core. I love that. That's great.
It is. It is.
You know, in reading your materials, and you know, I took a workshop with you. I was one of your students, and I just loved your workshop on chakras, where you talk about the energy centers of the body. Could you explain to that? And now your website, we're going to have a banner, is janetgracenelson.com. And I know you have a program that effortlessly teaches about chakras. Tell us about that, please.
That's a program that I created called Set Yourself Free, and unlock your personal potential to live the life that you love. So when you really unlock the energy centers in your body from the root chakra all the way up to the crown, you're letting the light, the life force in you, you're setting it free. So when they say, you know, that when you set yourself free and the truth shall set you free, that you're actually living your greatest truth, which is your essence of love.
That's fantastic. That's wonderful. Now, I was perusing your website, and I also had some materials that you handed out at the conference. And one thing that I recall was that you don't even step out of bed in the morning without doing something. What do you do as soon as you wake up, before you even get up out of bed? What do you do?
Well, I have several daily spiritual practices that absolutely are a part of my day, a part of my being. But the one in the morning is called my gratitude practice. And it's part of it is thinking of 3 things that I'm grateful for. But the second part is the most important. It's allowing myself to feel the 3 things that I'm truly grateful for. And when you take it from the mindset to the heart set, you allow that essence of what it is that you are truly grateful for in this life to actually enliven and awaken the cells of your body. And that's how you want to start your day.
You know, that is awesome. And I love the distinction you made, because there are a lot of people, you know, they have their little journal and they have their pen and they write a gazillion things to be grateful for, but to actually take that extra step and to feel the energy, that's huge, because that energy then will draw and attract people, circumstances, and events which resonate with that energy.
Absolutely. Yeah. Absolutely. That's what we are. We are vibratory beings, and we're resonating at whatever level we're allowing ourselves to feel in any moment. We can feel the energy of a victim. Poor me. Why is this happening to me? And you can stay in that, I call it the dirty diaper syndrome. You can stay right there, and, you know, and everything that you're bringing to you is that energy. But then you can bring your yourself up to, I love my life. And everything that's good and true that I'm grateful for in my life, I allow myself to stay connected to those thoughts and those feelings. And then, like you said, the universe is energetically bringing to you the things that you are attracting. That's the energy of the law of attraction.
That matches that vibrational energy. That's fantastic. I love that we talk about energy now more and more these days, because for a long time we didn't speak about it in the West, but now we do. So one thing that really intrigues me is where you live. You live in Big Bear Lake, California, and I've been there many times. It's one of the most beautiful places in the United States, and I was so excited that earlier in the show you took the camera outside and showed me your deck, and it overlooks these beautiful mountains. And what I find especially gratifying about that is that not only do you give inspirational talks and do workshops, but you actually do retreats. And you do them in that environment, which just must make them spectacular. Now, I know there's a conference coming up called Celebrate Your Life, and it's a sacred goddess retreat. It's a woman's retreat. Tell us about that. Tell us the date and etc.
Well, there is more information on my website. I'm just going to pop up a little flyer. What I do, and I've been doing this now for the past 10 years, is facilitating an experience when you can really retreat from your daily life and allow some deep and powerful spiritual exercises and experiences to really energize you and really allow you to experience a bigger part of the truth of who you are. You can then take that back into your daily life and experience life in a whole different way. So I'm renting a mansion on the lake this year. We're going to be doing some deep cleansing and clearing for clarity, for your soul's purpose, for your journey, what's next in your life, allowing yourself to really integrate some of the ideas, the expansive ideas. I always say, when you come to the mountaintop, you're really going to take off the crown of your head and be available to listening to more of God's ideas of what's next for your life. What is it that you are here to do and to be and to give and to deliver in the highest form possible? And so that's the work that we do at this spiritual retreat, this goddess retreat in July.
That's fantastic. I'm really excited about that. Now I'd like to jump to your book. Your book is called Putting the Broken Pieces Back Together, A Guide to Building a Life That's Been Shattered. Now it's just about to come out. Do you have a prototype that you can show us?
I do. It's very exciting. It's like giving birth. It was the most amazing experience. And I cannot even begin to tell you how honored I am to have been the scribe of this book. And it really has been a life journey to bring a lot of my understandings of God and life and love and how things work and the oneness of it all. And my own personal journey of my near-death motorcycle accident is featured in the book, and also 12 other amazing stories of people's lives that were broken to building another life.
Oh, that's great. That's great. Yeah. Is there one particular idea from the book that you could tell us and that our viewers could take, that they could implement in their lives?
Well, I would say that one of the key factors, especially when you're dealing with or up against, we've all had experiences in our lives that we've felt like our life has been broken, whether it's broken in money or broken in relationships or broken in limiting thinking, and how we navigate through those rocky terrains of our life. And I do it in 7 steps. And the first one is acceptance.
Okay, we have about a minute. And so acceptance is the idea you want to present to us. What does really acceptance mean? That means You got to put up with your circumstances. What does that mean?
That means really just like allowing yourself to really touch the part in you that can accept your circumstance and look for the blessings and the gifts that it has come to give you.
Oh.
Because if you're living by spiritual truth, you recognize that everything has a blessing and a gift in it for you.
Right.
So when you accept it, the circumstance and situation that you're facing, and you go deeper and you're looking for the blessing or the gift, it takes on a whole nother life. It takes on a whole nother dimension.
I like that because so many times we resist and we resist and we resist what we're going through. And bottom line is what we resist persists. So
Absolutely.
Yeah, so our willingness to look for the blessing. Well, I just love that, and I love you. So
I love you too.
Thank you. I want to tell your viewers, please check out Janet Grace Nelson, www.janetgracenelson. And the retreat, Celebrate Your Life, Sacred Gratitude Retreat in Big Bear Lake, California, is from July 11th to the 13th. So hope to see you there. And I bless you, I praise you, and I appreciate you. And we want you back when your book comes out. Oh, can we get you a promise on that?
Yes, you bet. I would be honored. Thank you so much.
All right, it's signing off. Thank you so much, Janet Grace Nelson.
Love and blessings.
Us. All right, love and blessings to you. And so, coming up right after this commercial break, we are bringing you James Redfield, who wrote the Celestine Prophecy and the whole series of books around that. So we'll be right back in just a couple of minutes, so don't go too far with Spirituality Rocks.
Guidance, peacefully, joyfully, I am peacefully, joyfully, I am divinely guided, peacefully, joyfully, I follow my inner guidance, peacefully, joyfully, I am
My name is Dr. Robert Brevard. I'm here for Multi-Medicine in Westbury, New York. We're located at 1065 Old Country Road, Suite 214. Been here for about 15 years. The practice has medical doctors, physical therapists, chiropractors, acupuncturists. We also do pain management, and we have orthopedists on staff. Here at Advanced Multi-Medicine Rehabilitation, we've got physical therapists on staff who treat an array of conditions, from neck pain to back pain, shoulder pain. We treat carpal tunnel. We treat a lot of car accident patients, slip and falls. We treat patients with knee injuries, with ankle injuries. We have state-of-the-art equipment. We've been here for over 15 years. Vast array of diagnostic testing, from x-rays to EMGs. What is an EMG? It's a diagnostic test that allows a doctor to determine where the pinched nerve is. Cora is a physical therapist at Advanced Multi-Medicine and Rehabilitation. She's working on Stephanie, who was involved recently in an automobile accident. Stephanie has tight thoracic and cervical musculature, and Cora is doing some myofascial release work and some therapeutic stretching, doing it to help her with her pain. Vicky is also a patient here at Advanced Multi-Medicine and Rehabilitation. Vicky is now working her leg muscles, specifically her quadricep muscles, trying to strengthen them after an injury she sustained. If you find yourself in need of any type of physical therapy, please don't hesitate to call Advanced Multi-Medicine and Rehabilitation, located in Westbury, New York, in Suite 214. Phone number is 516-334-7000, or find us on our website at advancedmultimedicine.com.
Are you planning an event and want to include entertainment, but you're not sure where to turn?
Act1Entertainment.net has provided over 1,500 events with quality, affordable live entertainment at private parties, corporate affairs, festivals, bike rallies, and more. Act 1 will fit into your budget. They're friendly, reliable, and do all the legwork for you. They take all major credit cards. Log on to Act1Entertainment.net for a free, no-obligation price quote or call 631-758-3505 for a brochure.
You'll be happy you did.
I am Tom Mealy for the Harrison Law Group, and I have been telling you for years that getting involved in an automobile accident is no joke. This is what we do. We're not new at this game. If you've been involved in an accident of any kind, and you go to a law firm that says you have no case, it's simple. It's because they can't do it and they don't get it. You need to call us directly at 1-800-INJURY-LAW.
For professional motorcycle transport and towing, think Kickstart Fabrications Motorcycle Towing. Proudly serving all of Long Island, we feature expert handling and 24/7 service. So send a limo for your toy with Kickstart Fabrications Motorcycle Towing.
Peacefully, joyfully, I am divinely guided. Peacefully, joyfully.
Welcome back to Spirituality Rocks. I'm your host, Janine Burns, and I teach practical spirituality. I'm really excited to bring to you tonight a fantastic author, someone who teaches practical spirituality and does it with a lot of panache and with really exciting work. And that is James Redfield. Now, James Redfield, as a young man, he studied Eastern philosophies, including Taoism and Zen, while he was majoring in sociology at Auburn University. He had his master's degree in counseling, and he was working as a therapist for many, many years. All the while, he was forming ideas for his book called Celestine Prophecy. That book came out in 1993 and was an incredibly huge success. I remember reading that it was on the New York Times bestseller list for quite a long time. And then it spawned a whole series of books about the Celestine Prophecy. So welcome to Spirituality Rocks, James Redfield.
Thank you. Nice to be with you.
Thank you so much. So, you know what was exciting to me is when you first wrote that book, Celestine Prophecy, I had a spiritual community. I was the leader of a progressive spiritual community. And what we did was, when the book came out, we had classes, workshops, special events, and the place would be packed. And one of the things that I thought was so amazing is in your book, is you made it safe. That book made it safe for people to talk about spirituality and to especially talk about synchronicity without going, woo, do. That was great.
Yeah, well, it was time for that. My theme in the Celestine Prophecy was that, we're getting the culture in a mass way was opening up to the reality of the spiritual life. Not just a matter of belief that someone pinned you down, but a set of deeper experiences that that we could talk about and with each other experience in a deeper way, and that was happening all over the world pretty much at the same time. And I think the popularity of the Self-Same Prophecy occurred because the book sort of put a lot of it into words, what was happening to us, and it became a kind of pass-along book and a book that people could study and discuss, and that all that's still happening. The world has turned a little crazy, but I'd like to reassure everyone that opening to the spirit in a mass way that's focused on real experience that can be proved to yourself is still underway, and in fact we're at a great point right now. We're finally able to not just conceive it, but to put it into daily practice in our own lives.
Exactly. And so the Celestine, and the Celestine Prophecy did that for a lot. And a lot of people are still reading it and buying it for their friends, etc. Now, let's talk about the actual, it's this gripping adventure of discovery. And it talks about crystallizing your perceptions of why you're here and why you're in life. So how is that relevant to us today? Because there are so many people going through change, and change that they're not calling good, change that seems to be bad. They're having challenges at work, or they might be having challenges with their health or finances or relationships. And I know you have a different view about that, and I'd love for you to talk about that.
Well, I just think that our opening to spiritual experience is happening just in time, because at the same moment that the ordinary life out there is full of a lot of challenges, financial difficulties, polarization of ideology, which makes people not listen to each other. While all that's going on, it looks pretty bleak from one perspective. At the same time, because it's so bad, we have to turn and finally put this spiritual experience that we're connecting with into real action in our lives. It's almost forcing us to become more spiritual in our perception, cultivating a deeper intuition so that we know the moves to make to put ourselves in a place where these magical synchronicities happen to solve problems, to take us further toward our own destinies unfolding. All that is occurring at the same time. A lot of people are suffering out there,
Right.
Relying just on pop culture to give them a sense of value.
Right. You know what? There's a little technical difficulty, and my producers are saying that it's something on your end. So we are just going to affirm. We just had a bleep. Remember we were speaking on the phone the other day, and I think you said solar flare. So we are just going to know there's perfect communication here, that we can hear you clearly. It sounds like there's birds chirping in the background.
I hear it when you talk as well.
Oh, okay. Well, it's all good right now. And so you were saying in the different insights, the third insight in the spiritual, in the Celestine Prophecy, is it's a matter of energy. And you talk about that we don't really live in a material universe, but in a universe of dynamic energy. I was saying earlier in the show that we're not that used to talking about energy in the West, but talk to us about this quote-unquote sacred energy that you address in the book.
Well, first of all, let me just say to everyone listening that, the book is about a series of insights that I argue all of humanity is beginning to download. Some have downloaded a few, some have downloaded them all, but it's making us tune in to real spiritual experience. And so, when you get to the third download, it's about realizing that we live in a mysterious, I can't do this. This is too noisy.
Yeah, you know what? Let's take a commercial break, and let me come back. We'll readjust the Skype, and so we'll be back in like a minute. All righty?
Great.
All right, we'll be right back with Spirituality Rocks. Stay tuned.
Follow my inner guidance, peacefully, joyfully. I am peacefully, joyfully. I am divinely guided, peacefully, joyfully. I follow my inner guidance, peacefully, joyfully. I am divine.
Hi, my name is Dr. Tom Dow. We have a multidiscipline practice in Melville and Ronkonkoma, New York, and we treat patients with many, many different conditions, from newborns through geriatric patients with numerous different techniques. There's a technique and a type of treatment for every class of patient. We have them all here. Here's my son Thomas, also a doctor of chiropractic, working on one of our patients' cervical spine. This patient has had chronic neck pain for many, many, many years, has been to a multitude of different practitioners with little or no response. And with our specialized techniques, she has improved tremendously and continues to improve on a daily basis. We have two practices, one in Melville and one in Ronkonkoma, New York. We are a multidiscipline chiropractic office. What that means is we have chiropractors, massage therapists, acupuncturists, psychologists, all working as a team and a network of outside professionals such as orthopedists and neurologists that we work hand in hand with to help determine what your injuries are and the best way to treat your injuries. I have the great pleasure of having my son in practice with me. We work hand in hand, father and son, to give our patients the best care possible, and a staff which is loving, caring, and you'll never have to wait at all in our office for service. Many times patients come into our office and they have what's called a soft tissue injury. Soft tissue injuries are like scars inside your body. If you've ever been cut on the outside of your body, you get a scar.
Peacefully.
Welcome back to Spirituality Rocks. I'm your host, Janine Burns. We've taken care of the technical glitches. We're going right back to James Redfield, who wrote Celestine Prophecy. Welcome back, James.
Thank you.
Now, you were talking about a matter of energy. We were discussing how everything is a sacred field of energy. Please continue where we left off before that technical difficulty.
Well, we know from quantum physics, in fact, that that all of matter is energy. But I think it's important to understand that the universe on a whole has a energy reaction to everything we do. What we put out changes the energy that comes back to us. It's just like the mystics of every religion have talked about. As you sow, so shall you reap. A lot of that's just pure intention and attitude. If you're, as many people know now, if you have a negative attitude, you tend to draw the things in that you're fearful of. Mm-hmm. If you have a positive attitude, you tend to draw in a more positive reaction to your creations in the world. However, there's also, in my view, a karmic design to the universe that is very, very specifically spiritual. And I'll just tell you the way I think it works. I think everybody can prove it to themselves if they test it out this way. But I think what we experience is that if we have a giving attitude into the world, the karmic design revolves around giving, and that means giving the best to people. In terms of our communications, it means always having the attitude of wanting to do what's best for the other person as we intuit that when we interact with people. Now, what happens is that when we have that attitude, we want to act in a way that helps people the most, you know. We always consider every outcome in terms of what would be best for the other person.
Okay.
And when we do that, it not only does it help our interactions, because miracles happen, you know, when we interact with people, but it also sets a positive karmic response in which we draw into our lives people who act just like we do. So what happens is that we draw into our lives other people who have the motivation to help us, to come into our lives and be a synchronicity for us, to bring us information that we needed at just the right moment. So conversely, though, if we act selfishly toward others, if we try to manipulate them for personal gain, even if we're trying to appear smarter, or all the manipulations and control dramas that people have, if we're doing that, we tend to draw into our lives people that act the same exact way toward us. So into our lives come these people that are manipulating, telling us half-truths, trying to use us for varying purposes. It's the karmic effect that creates chaos in the world. But the people who shift that attitude and make sure that they're in a karmic alignment with the design, and all we have to do is just begin looking out for people, trying to be a synchronicity for people when we intuit something that we feel they need to know. What happens, though, is that we start to draw in those giving people into our lives, and suddenly in the middle of the chaos, we have people showing up to help us solve our problems, to open doors of opportunity for us, and it's literally as simple as that in terms of moving from a sort of chaotic pop culture reality to a more what I call the miracle universe design. Stepping into that miracle universe where we literally have miracles happen daily in a synchronistic way. So again, I challenge anyone who's listening to this, if you're skeptical, try it for a while. Just try it and do it the best you can. Your life will never be the same.
That's fantastic. I love that. And that reminds me of the fourth insight. What I'd like to know more about, you talk about the message of the mystics, and you also talk about staying connected. How do you encourage people to get connected and stay connected? Well,
intention is everything. Prayer is the vehicle. The intention to connect with a higher part of ourselves, which is divine. The intelligence has always been called God by many other names, but that loving intelligence actually exists within us. So what we have to intend is that for that, I call it downloading your spiritual intelligence.
I love it.
What happens is the ego, our sense of control starts to diminish in that we feel this love first, and you can meditate on love and get it. You can meditate on giving up control and allowing yourself to be guided intuitively. There's many yogas or ways to open up this way, but what it feels like is a download. And if we knock on that door, we start to expand our consciousness. And that's a very accurate word for what happens. You expand your consciousness because a greater consciousness comes in and looks through our eyes on the world and has a greater intelligence in terms of what we can do to help others. So you maximize suddenly the intuitive guidance you get to be a synchronicity for the people that cross your paths. And that, of course, is living in the miracle universe that I've been describing.
Living in the miracle universe. It's fantastic. I like that a lot. You talk about our connection becoming more constant and consistent in your book. You just talked about prayer. How else do we address that? Is it just a matter of being present? Is it a matter of being, consciously looking and paying attention to synchronicities? What is that about?
Well, certainly, the first thing we get when we start a spiritual life, when we start a search for a greater spiritual life, is we start to get the synchronicity. We want to learn more, we want to open up more, something synchronistic will happen to give us the information we need to do that. And so at every what I call download step or insight, what happens is that we get just a little bit more of that indwelling or that download of our spiritual intelligence. And then we have to do something that's really important. We have to retrain our ego to be a sense of kind of alertness that we have, and a sense of kind of discrimination, and in terms of our discriminating between two actions. But mainly, the ego becomes a traffic cop, so that you change your reaction patterns to the people that used to push your buttons. So, and as you get more into spiritual alignment with the karmic universe, there'll be some lag time, so that once you've decided you're going to be a giving person instead of a taking person, what occurs is that there'll be some drag, so you'll still be drawing in some taking people the way you used to be that push your buttons. And these are the control dramas that I described that happen, that I describe in the Celestine Prophecy. The way we manipulate other people to get attention and to get our own self-esteem. So it's very, very important to just take it one step at a time and retrain our egos, and and change the reactions. So as we desire to be more spiritually connected, we have to shift our automatic ego reaction patterns. And that's really not that hard if we focus just on doing what's best for the other person. And every time, not trying to win with anybody, not trying to be smarter than anybody, not trying to be, the life of the party. Just be a giver, and all the humor and all the personality that is yours will come out. And it's the solution to all the power struggles that we see out there.
So then you're talking about responding rather than reacting.
Exactly. And being guided by our intuitive urges, and these feelings that we should bring up a subject with the person we're talking to. It'll come in intuitively. Oh, I ought to tell this person this particular thing. And rather than doubting that, you just say it. And sometimes it can feel, maybe the other person will take it as a criticism, when it's really just a helpful solution you're giving someone. And you can't be responsible for that. You have to just make sure you're following your own higher intelligence about what this person needs to know in a conversation with you. And if you do that, then you're off the hook. All we have to do, and if everybody was doing that, and everybody listening to this knows that if we were all doing that, the world would change dramatically in an instant. Instant. Right. Suddenly, we would all be our brother's keepers, and we would all have solutions for each other just at the right time, and the world would completely shift. And guess what? What I'm describing as a new approach to life, a new way of living life, is exactly what happens, what's going on in the afterlife. That's how people quickly remember to interact, everybody learning and everybody contributing and everybody helping each other along every step of the way. So it's that's why I'm so excited about that this information's out there. And it's not just coming from me, it's coming from a lot of different people, and it's also coming from people that are just talking about their own experience. So it's an aha that's sweeping the world. At the very same time, the people that remain in fear and remain in a kind of distracted state where they really do watch these reality shows, believe it or not. And it's a distraction for the great spirit, from the greater spiritual life they could be living. The excitement of that. It's why people, do drugs and all the other things that people do in an addicted kind of way. They want the titillation that they sense is there, but it's always what they're after is always a substitute unless they're going deeper within spiritually. And that's why people, I believe, that's happening everywhere. In every church, forget whether conservative or progressive, or forget everything. That in terms of political judgments.
Right.
Because across all religion, and some religions are better at some things and better and worse at some things. Well, who cares? Across all religions, there's a movement that's experientially based to download our spiritual connection with God within. And boy, that's pretty exciting, I think.
That's really exciting. And I believe, and please let me know if I'm correct, I believe that's what you call authentic spirituality.
That's correct.
Authentic spirituality. So learning to connect within.
Yeah, I mean it's just paying attention to the experiences that we have, and following them, and starting to get in alignment with the way the universe is designed. You want to live a good, happy life in a world where there's not enough, people think there's not enough money or there's not enough fairness or whatever. You want to live a happy life, you have to do it now. You have to do it spiritually. And I believe that it's never been easier to do that.
That is really, really exciting. You wrote about the 10th Insight. And in that book, you talk about creating a new spiritual culture. And so I guess this is what you're really talking about now, is everybody is keeping first in their consciousness to serve another, to support another, to care about another. And
That's right.
And to pay attention to synchronicities and coincidences.
Yes.
Fantastic. And so, and then how do we hold this vision every day beyond prayer? You talked about prayer. How else can we hold this vision?
You just have to remember to do it. I mean, it's
intention
when you go
then.
to bed at night and wake up, you're a new person every day. And we just have to cultivate the new habits every morning. We have to remember to do that. That's why people stick stickies all over their bathroom mirror, right? I mean, whatever it takes. Have a friend call you in the morning and say, remember to expect the first synchronicity. Because, we can, fires will break out in our lives and we'll fall right back in our old patterns of solving problems. And it'll be noon before we remember, oh, wait a minute, I should have meditated on this issue. I should have had an affirmative prayer going out into the ethers to bring a solution to me about this. I should look in every synchronicity. Who am I on the elevator with? Who am I sitting beside at the lunch counter? Looking everywhere for that one glimpse of recognition with someone where if you find a way to strike up a conversation, sometimes it's the very synchronicity you were looking for. I mean, most of us go by all the miracles in our lives without even noticing at this point, but we're getting better at it. But we have to wake up in the morning and retrain the way we react in the world.
So it's a lot then conscious intention. It's about conscious intention then.
Intention, yes. You broke up just a little bit. Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's where it starts, right? I mean, we have to knock on the door. Every religion has expression that you have to knock on the door before it opens. You know, we have
Exactly.
free will. The ego, our egos always want to do it the safe way. The safe way is how the ego is used to doing it. So we feel safe when we get these routines going, and you know, we have our addiction here, our addiction there, and we're pretty functional though, and we just think that's all there is. And until we break free to a different kind of intelligence that we have, you know, what I've called the spiritual intelligence, till we download that and get and start to feel our hunches and our intuitions and our urges to go over there, and even if you think you're going to make a fool out of yourself, talk to that person on the other side of the room. You know, one of the things I do in workshops is I ask people to do that in the workshop, and it's very difficult for people to figure out under pressure how to strike up a conversation. You know, and other cultures, other generations have been a lot better at it than we are currently in the U.S. But you know, it has to be done because we have to check out every opportunity for a synchronicity to happen.
Right. What I do a lot is I look for the good and I talk about it. Wherever I go, I'm looking for something good, and I give thanks to the person or just acknowledge that. And I find that creates an energy of connection that's just so fantastic. And then, like you said, suddenly you're at the right place at the right time doing the right thing as you keep your intention every day sparked.
Right. And you brought up the key. The key is intend to be helpful. Don't think about how you look or how you come across, or whether you think the other person thinks you're smart or goofy or whatever. Don't think about it. Just focus on how you can be helpful to everybody you make contact with. And if you're in a room and you're not going to be able to talk to everybody, just give them some positive energy. I mean, just actually intend for energy to come through you, go up into them, and make them feel better. And when we do that, what that does is the energy flows out of us, but it comes into us, you know, and it just gets more and more powerful. And that is probably the best way to stay connected, stay in your highest self, is to be giving this energy and information and whatever we intuit that we need to say to people, give that readily, and we stay connected.
Ooh, I'm loving it. What a juicy way to end the show. That is fantastic. Do you visualize light? Is that something that you do? Some people are, that when they send energy, they imagine the other person surrounded in light. Or do you just intend?
I do a couple of things.
Okay.
I definitely visualize the energy going and filling them up like a balloon.
Okay, we have 1 minute. Go ahead.
I also want a sense of seeing the deepest spiritual intelligence in the person, in their eyes. You know, I want to see the deeper spiritual intelligence in their face, that expression. So I look for it. I try to see it. If you try to see it, then you know that's a powerful force for that person to actually experience that download. You know, sometimes for the first time.
Mm-hmm. Wonderful. Well, I'm just really excited that you've joined us today. And your website address is up on the screen, so people can check it out at CelestineVision.com.
Right.
And do you have a parting word for us?
Well, I would just say that to everyone that it's about intentions, about knocking on the door. It's about going within and meditating for a solution if you have a problem. If you have a dream you want it to come to, affirm that you're getting help, and also affirm that you're being protected.
Okay.
We have that. It's all there as part of the package when we download this intelligence.
That's awesome. You know, I appreciate you just said that, affirm that, because what I've done is I've created some affirmation cards, and what they are, the intention is to get them out to people so they can tell people about the TV show Spirituality Rocks. And on the back, they all say I'm divinely guided in all I think, say, and do. And there's one here about self-esteem, one about accomplishments and achievements, and one about your intuition guiding you. So I am right on the same page with you. James Redfield, Thank you so much for joining us on Spirituality Rocks TV. I bless you and I appreciate you.
My pleasure. Keep up the good work.
Thank you. And I just want to invite the viewing audience to tune in next week, because next week we have Judith Burdock, who put a documentary together on transforming loss. And the following week we have Dr. Ken Gordon, who's the spiritual director of the Centers for Spiritual Living. So keep your intention focused, and remember, there's a power within you that will lift your life to its highest level. Stay connected and be a part of an awakening world. Thanks for joining me on this episode of Spirituality Rocks.